Hey guys, welcome to my porch and welcome to Front Porch Fridays. I am so excited to be back, and I'm so excited that I have a special friend joining me. I didn't say a special friend, that sounds like Sesame Street, doesn't it? Anyway, I have a great friend coming to join me on the porch, and I'm excited that he chose to be a part of this today, and I want you guys to hear his story. He's just a wonderful friend and a great, just a great person in general. So hey, hang in there and come journey with us on Front Porch Fridays and listen to, I'm not going to tell you yet. Hang in there and you'll know in just a minute.
I think I hear him coming.
Here we go.
Hello, welcome to Front Porch Fridays.
Mark Wilson, welcome to the porch.
Thank you for the invite. I'm looking forward to it.
Hi, I am Vickie Coleman, a realtor with Front Porch Partners and a connector in Richmond, Virginia. It is my pleasure to bring you the stories of the people and places from the community I love and call home on Front Porch Fridays. Join me as I bring people together, one porch at a time. All right. Well, thank you again for coming and hanging out on the porch.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a beautiful day.
I know. So I want to ask you something. I didn't see if you remember. How long have you been in real estate?
Right around 16 years, roughly, give or
about
take.
Twice as long as I've been in real estate.
Okay.
So one of my very first transactions, a house that I sold, you brought the buyer. Do you remember Whiffletree?
I do remember that one. Yes.
Yeah. I went back and read our text this morning. I was a mess.
Oh, were you?
Well, you were so kind, and I could tell you were so experienced. I was nervous, but I went back and read some of our text. I was fine. It was a smooth transaction, and but you were just so gracious in your texting, and I went back and read some of the things I was saying about the contract, and you were like, no, but that's okay. We'll do it like this. And I was like, he was correcting me, but in the kindest way.
Well, you don't always realize that either.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of funny.
Well, because I was new. I'd been in real estate. 2015 was my first year, and this was, I think it was February or March of 2016. Huh. So I was not even in real estate a year. So I was looking at some of the things I was telling you and asking you about the contract, but more of, could they do this? Things I know that you can't do, but I didn't know.
Didn't know at the time.
It was simple things, but because my sellers had asked me, and so I thought, well, sure, I'll just ask. But like, no, I should have said, you actually can't do that. So you were so gracious, and I remember that because I thought, you are one of the kindest. You are a very kind person, and you are such an encourager. And that's good that you don't know that. You're so humble too. So hey.
Well, you know what's funny is that couple. I'm actually having lunch with him later today because they're thinking about moving. They've outgrown the house. They've added to their family.
Isn't that interesting?
And now they're thinking. So now you have to find me a buyer for that when I do it.
Hey, you never know.
Let's make it happen.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
But so getting back to even doing the show again, pointing to you being an encourager. So 3 weeks ago, I was in my networking group, which you now are coming to one of the networking groups that we're doing.
One of the new ones, yeah.
Yeah, and some people in the group were saying, you should start Front Porch Fridays again, and I've just had the hardest time getting back into it.
Yep.
Just for fear that people wouldn't like it, or, whatever reason, just that gets in your head.
Yeah.
I think just coming out of COVID, a lot of things got in our heads.
Yeah.
But they were telling me, some people were telling me, you need to do it again. And then that I think it was the day or the next day you called me.
Yep, I do remember that. Yeah.
And you were talking about Front Porch Fridays because you do a show, or you used to do a show.
We used to, yeah.
But you're thinking about maybe doing it, and you were encouraging me.
I've encouraged one of my agents to pick it up and take it over. So we're actually meeting on that. She's going to start August 1, maybe next week, but yeah.
So that just points back to you're an encourager. God really uses you, and I appreciate that.
Any way you can, I'm here. So.
And then you're on the porch with me as my first guest getting started.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I know. And I want to talk about why, besides just the fact that you're a fun person to hang out with, you're involved in the Fatherhood Foundation of Virginia.
Yes, I am.
And a lot of people would watch the show over the years know exactly what that is. And but it is a nonprofit in Richmond, Virginia that focuses on fatherhood and fathers having healthy relationships with their children. But you're involved. You've gotten involved this year. Why have you gotten involved?
Well, a little birdie told me about it a little bit, and the more I started learning about it, I was like, wow, this is needed. I feel like there's a lot of things for women and for mothers, but when I started doing research, I was like, there's really not much for the fathers. And I've known some fathers that I've helped that were single fathers or fathers struggling to get into properties, and there's another father I know now who has 6 kids and really needs the opportunity for some of these things, and it just hit with me. It was just kind of a heartstrung. I was like, this is something that's needed. any little way I can do to give back, it just seemed like the right thing.
And you're one of the, and I say we because I've been a part of the organization for 4 years now, but you, we have an event every year called the Funding Father, which is it's our major fundraising event. And we have, how many fathers do we have this year?
I think we have 12.
12. So you're one of the Funding Fathers.
I am one of 12.
You're one of 12. And you're raising money.
I am.
Because it's, like I said, one of our biggest fundraisers.
We still got 25 more days if you want to, roughly.
Well, and I want to talk about that. Why would somebody want to support you? Tell me a little bit about your family. Tell us about, just give us a little bit about Mark Wilson.
I mean, married to my wife, Crystal. She's has been a Hanover or county teacher for years. She recently, our church now has a program where they're offering kind of a in-between for stay-at-home schools and also in school. So she's teaching there. I've been doing real estate for, feels like forever. And we have 2 little kids, 6 and 8. Lane is 6 and Lexi's 8. And that's my why. I mean, that's the reason I do most everything. And it's that simple a lot of times, I feel like,
How old did you say your kids were?
6 and 8.
6 and 8.
So Lexi's 8 going on 14 though. That's the problem.
She is.
But she's a handful sometimes. But that spunkiness is what we call her.
Right. Well, that's good. You have a great relationship. I love seeing you use them in your advertising.
We do. I use them a lot. I own several companies, and I feel like they're marketing in those companies, whether it's real estate or the construction or the dumpster business, and to them it's fun, and it also teaches them a little bit about business. You know, it's the little things they pick up on, and and then Lane will say, "Hey, well, Daddy, I did some videos. Could I transfer some of that time for a new toy?" And I'm like, he's getting pretty smart. He realizes how some of this works, but it's good that they're learning that at such a young age. So
that's awesome. See, you're such a great dad.
I try to be. That's all you can do is try.
You've got you've got several businesses.
I do.
Tell us all about all the different things you have going on, if you want to. So, if it exhausts you too much.
Many people call me like a serial entrepreneur because I probably do too much. But I started in real estate for a long time. I own a company, RVA Realty. We're a small kind of boutique brokerage based out of Glen Allen. And that's been my bread and butter, and that's what I've always really enjoyed. But as time grew, in real estate, like, hey, contractor, I need somebody to come and fix something. And then all of a sudden you're like, where'd they all go? They just disappear. So I had a good friend of mine, Rusty Wood, who's my co-owner in River City Home Services. And he was doing this and that and doing working for an apartment maintenance. And he always did my punch list, but it was hard with doing both jobs. And I somehow coerced him into quitting that job and coming to work with me full time and starting this company. And he probably thinks I'm nuts, but now he really enjoys it. I mean, and that's what he wanted to do. It's just taking that leap of faith, taking that step, and realizing that's what he was wanting to do. And now, we're maybe 4 to 5 years in on that company, and we've grown to 6 or 8, maybe about 6 people in the field. We have some office staff that try to keep all the requests and keep everybody moving. And those are the 2 big things that we've done. And then all of a sudden, as you grow your company, you're like, oh, well, we need some help with closing. So, of course, I created a title company. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I had the title company. We have other agents that use it, but most of them are just internally with RVA. It is East Coast Title.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and that's mainly just, you find out there's a way to make a little bit of income. Yeah. And it also helps to keep the transactions moving smooth because you know the people involved versus every week or every client you pick a new person and you hope and pray that it's going to close on time. So that was kind of a need-based thing that we did, and it's a great ancillary set of business. It's not a you're not going to retire, but it's some good extra money. Right. And I also own a rental management company called RealSnap. That company is pretty small, but we basically started it as before a home sold in like 8 seconds, they sat on the market. Well, sometimes people would say, well, Mark, I need to do something with this. So they would rent the property. So we started as helping people rent, and down the road, they would resell. Well, now it's grown, and we have 1 or 2 employees with it. I co-own that with 2 friends of mine, and they kind of deal with a lot of the operation stuff, and I deal with the brokerage side of stuff. And then typically our agents that work for RVA that are looking for some extra money, we'll do that as on a part-time basis so that they're in the real estate world and they're working, but it can also eventually get them some clients from listings and buyers and things like that. So, and then the last business is a dumpster business called Get Rid of It Dumpster dumpster business. I co-own that with my construction co-owner Rusty as well. We started that business mainly because we were renting dumpsters from all these other companies and just having problems with it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, let's buy a couple for us, and then we can rent to our contractor friends, and then we can rent to our, sellers and buyers and different people. And now we get calls every week. Hey, I got too much clutter. I need to clean out my basement, my garage, my attic, and then, contractors are renting them from us. So, it's a slow thing. We started that in April, but pretty much that's kind of the gamut of what I'm in.
You got a lot going on. Breathe, my friend. Wow.
I do try to breathe a little bit.
Wow.
But, I have great people. So that's the other thing. It makes it a lot easier. If you don't have great people, you can't do all this.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm just glad that I'm a part of your life. I'm not doing any business with you, but man, I just love.
Never know. Whiffletree's coming back on. You might be able to. Might be able to get a deal.
I need to sell that house for you.
There you go.
Well, there's a lot more to you, and a whole lot more going on, and we want to. We've started a podcast called Front Porch Podcast, and we're going to jump over that in a little bit, because we got more about Mark Wilson. We want you guys to hear about him. But before we do that, you have an event coming up on Sunday, August the 6th, from 4 to 6 p.m. Is that at your office?
That is going to be at our office. 52. Yeah, it's a fundraiser charity event for the Fatherhood Foundation of Virginia, and of course the 12 Funding Fathers. They have a dunk booth that's rented. It's going to be at our office, 5231 Hickory Park Drive, Suite C. So when you pull in, you can't miss it. There'll be a big dunk tank at the back of the office.
Are you going to be dunking you?
I will be dunkable.
Did you decide you're wearing your Speedo or not?
I am not wearing a Speedo. I wanted people to attend the event, so I figured, and I told the agents the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So there'll be myself. Yeah. We're hoping some lenders will come. I have a few maybes, so I don't know if I have to pick up those lenders, but we're working to have it. Kids can come. You can dunk your parents. It doesn't really matter. It's all for charity. It's all for fun.
It'll be fun.
So we're going to be there Sunday evening from 4 to 6.
Okay.
Everybody come on. It's a lot of fun. It's for a good cause.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for hanging out with me. And as we transition over to go to the podcast, if you guys want to come hang out with us for about 30 more minutes and listen to the podcast, we're going to be talking about a major life event that happened to you about 4 years ago, right? It was 4 years ago?
Yeah, it was. Almost to the day.
And just a major life event that changed probably a lot of the way you look at
Absolutely.
things. So thanks again. And thank you guys for joining us on Front Porch Fridays. God bless.
Thank you.